guys? We're off in Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with our ongoing 31 days of horror. Welcome to day number, do I want to say 28? It is 28. It is 27. Day 27. Happy Friday. Yeah, I said we would, and we would. We are. Rob Zombies. Let's see. The rest of from here on to the 31st is Halloween, but it's the Halloween I want to revisit. So I know some are probably going to vacate these next couple days just because of their however they feel about Rob Zombie and his two entries. I hope you don't. I hope you watch. I hit. I don't know if you've ever heard of Five Below, but I hit Five Below right at the right time, and they must have got this insane bulk shipment of DVDs of Halloween, and I was fortunate enough to get both the unrated, the unrated, of course my movie ticket in there, and the theatrical cut, my movie ticket in there. I saw it a couple times in the theater, but anyways, and the same for Halloween 2, just like this, except one is theatrical, one is unrated. I was so fortunate. I can't believe I walked into Five Below when I did, and they had this mass bulk shipment. That was years ago. But I'm so glad. Now, I do have the Scream Factory 10 film release, which has, but unfortunately only has the unrated cut. And you know, hopefully you at least know the films, even if they're not rewatchable material for you. They are for me. I just love Rob Zombies. I just think it's so bad that we didn't get a third piece. It really, what's terrible is that the Weinstein said no to his pitch. Just the idea that what he wanted to do was his film, simultaneously shooting the second part, release the first film, Halloween, 1 year later, it's direct follow-up sequel. So in effect, you would have got his film, that, and a brunt of all of it would have been in the sanitarium, and then the film would have ended with the breakout of the sanitarium. I don't know what direction he would have went at that point. I think I prefer the chains and the breaking out in the theatrical versus the forced rape scene, although that seems to make more sense in how he could get out and be just put into a state of delirium, the fact that it happens in a cell. But anyways, I think I do prefer the other one. In fact, I watched the theatrical cut the other night, just probably for time's sake or whatever. And that is the one thing that and revisiting H2, a lot good stuff is left for the unrated director's cut. In terms of just the relationship between Laurie and Annie in the second part, in the aftermath of everything that's happened, or the sanitarium scenes in the theatrical. But I really do think, man, had we been able to go into the theater and just see his film, this is a Rob Zombie film, and then be able to 1 year later celebrate John's film via Rob Zombie and an entire film of itself, that could have opened up the gateway to a really awesome third piece that could have stuck. Because I don't care what anyone, look. I know. Scout Taylor Compton, Danielle Harris, Christina Klebe. I don't care what anyone says. Those three are absolutely fantastic together in this movie. But think about it. You got Brad Dourif, who he is Sheriff Brackett. And what they did to Sheriff Brackett's character in Halloween Kills, it's unforgivable as far as I'm concerned. Brad Dourif is freaking awesome. Malcolm McDowell, I love him when we first meet him for the very first time. That whole aesthetic look of his, man, looking like he's a hippie, and then he changes throughout, right? And then whatever you take about his off the deep end in the second part, I mean, Loomis had his deep end moment in part 5. I mean, so it is what it is. Tyler Mane is I thought he was awesome, man. I thought aesthetically, one of the things that Rob did magnificently was, I don't know if Michael Myers has ever looked this good. In fact, in the opening scenes of the sequel, Boy, he is terrifying, man. Just nightmarish in quality. And just to remind you guys, just in Rob's first film, Richard Lynch, Udo Kier, William Forsythe, Dee Wallace, Sid Haig, Sybil Danning, Bill Moseley, Clint Howard, and there are others. This cast is insane. Adrienne Barbeau is unfortunately was left to the cutting room floor, but I mean, there's others, man. The fact that what Rob does in allowing these relics of the past to have renewed life in film and cinema, what he did for Sid Haig, where Sid Haig was at, and what he offered him in the Firefly trilogy, at least in the the first two films. And what little bit he shot, of course, for the third, God rest his soul. But you think of Wayne Toth's work here, who's always been with. And Wayne Toth's makeup, I mean, that goes back to Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. He's been around for quite a while. Phil Parment, the cinematographer. I don't know if you know this, but he shot The Song Remains the Same, the concert video for Led Zeppelin way back in the day. Tyler Bates's score of Halloween, I just think is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Movie came out in 2007. I remember when the trailer was going to first break and it was going to drop at midnight. And I have to say, and I still feel the same as I do now. Seeing that trailer for the first time drop, I can't remember the last time I really, truly got excited for a Halloween movie to break out. And for me personally, it did not disappoint. Now, maybe that's because I'm 50 stinking years old. I was born in 1970. I'm 53. And I've never really run into a director who just seems like me and him, if we ever had met as kids, we would have got along. I mean, he talks about having the Space 1999. I had those growing up. A lot of what he grew up watching, I grew up watching. There are scenes in these movies that just hit chords within me that I can relate. I can relate in a way that I can't quite relate in the other movies. And I think it's because of his, there's the scene where I think it's Malcolm McDowell's Loomis is going into the sanitarium, and White Christmas, Deck the Halls is playing in the aesthetic of the snow. It's wintertime, and the way he's dressed, and as he's walking in, got Deck the Halls, the classic rendition. Dude, that just takes me back to Christmas as a kid, man. That just takes me back. The sweater that he brings for Michael to wear. The great moments that he spends with Michael, though, in the sanitarium, and in fact, not too far into that scene, where Michael just breaks down crying. There's a lot of heart. And yeah, there's probably a lot of things that rub people the wrong way, but I mean, there's things in Halloween 5 that rub people the wrong way. There's things in the whole Halloween 3 rubs people the wrong way. Resurrection rubs people the wrong way. As far as I'm concerned, this whole brand new trilogy by David Gordon Green rubs me the wrong way. It's imperfect. It is flawed. But there are things like Ends. I'm a fan of Ends. I just dig it. I don't know. There's something about it. It's imperfect. It's flawed. But I dig what he was trying to do. I wish I could say the exact same for the first two installments, but I do have them, and I did see them in the theater. I'm a fan of Halloween. But there's something about Rob's vision, something about aesthetically, tonally, his song selection, seeing Michael sitting on the curb, just destitute of any love or anyone that actually cares for him, to Nazareth's Love Hurts. Again, just seeing Michael, the deleted scenes, seeing Michael actually letting these people out of the sanitarium is freaking awesome. I wish that scene would have been left in the theatrical cut. I think that would have been, actually, you know what? It probably would have been had the Weinstein gave us a freaking two-film package we were supposed to get, we probably would have got that scene integrated in, because that would have been part of the great lead up to his breaking out of the sanitarium, and then black screen to be continued, or whatever, however they would have done it, right? You know, on Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, commentary with Tom Atkins, he talks about, towards the end of it, he talks about how the writers, the filmmakers of My Bloody Valentine 3D, actually had a script for a third piece that would have launched, continued Rob's vision, his world, but tonally brought it back to John's original intent, Michael in the shadows or whatever. But I think the whole thing was going to take place in a sanitarium. Tom Atkins was actually going to be Laurie's psychiatrist. I just think that would have been so freaking awesome. I get mad every time I listen to that. Yeah, I'm a repeat offender when it comes to commentaries. Look, I mean, you're either going to approach Michael one way or you're going to approach him the other way. And Rob took the angle of approaching him. Is it nurture, or is it just innate? Is you know? And there is something terrifying about somebody who can just seemingly snap with no cause, no motivation. As I've heard John often in the, Michael is like a force of nature, a hurricane that just sort of kind of comes in off the water and just wreaks havoc and leaves it as quietly as he entered it. And then there's something to be said about what can happen to a kid in Rob's vision, because it happens, whether you don't want to look at it or think about it. It happens. And I don't know. I really wish there could have been a third piece that would have taken it into a more supernatural direction. I think that would have been kind of neat, actually. Really, really super cool. I don't know what else to say about Rob's movie. I always try to see Halloween in the theater. I always try to take what I can get. And there's just Halloween. Rob's Halloween is a tour de force, man. From the moment it opens to the moment Laurie has just pulled the trigger and is just screaming in a delirium that is just, I think, almost unparalleled in any other Halloween film. The relationships between the three girls, Dee Wallace as the mom, and Pat Skipper, the dad. And just such a study in contrast of the world Michael. And just as I was revisiting it too, the fact that, when Laura's confronted with the picture, she's confronted with a very dark, ugly past that she has been removed from and nurtured in a way that it isn't until the aftermath of the events of this first film that her character just goes off the freaking deep end, which you would expect, where Danielle Harris, who was the bad girl, regresses. So anyways, it just, I don't know, man. I could just go on and on and on and on. I really appreciate so much of what he did, and I really think he breathed, like, for bad or good. I don't think, if you're a huge fan of the new trilogy, David Gordon Green's new trilogy, thank Rob Zombie, because with all the hate that came along with those two films, you probably wouldn't have this trilogy. So, you ought to at least tip your hat off to Rob for that. But anyways, it's Halloween, man. And like I said, I think it ends, we ought to celebrate everyone who has an opportunity to make their etch into the sculpture that is Halloween. And, it's not said its last. More is coming. And who knows what it's going to be like. But anyways, yeah. Happy Halloween, man. Enjoy your marathoning of Halloween, and I'm sure AMC or, I don't know, whoever may, Sci-Fi, whoever may be doing it. I'm sure someone is marathoning as we get closer and closer. Maybe they already are. I rely on my physical media for these things, but I do miss the old days of being clued into AMC or Sci-Fi and watching these things unfold, man. Anyways, on to Rob's H2. Happy Halloween. As always, go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to